Hey guys, how's it going? January 20th, 2019. And yeah, just sitting around here. At this point, I guess I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. so, um, yeah, it's kind of weird. I think I pulled my pectoral muscle or something. I'm not exactly sure what the hell I did. I was probably shoveling outside. We had a storm that went through. Actually, I'm in a pretty good mood, considering it's a Sunday. This could very well be the last Sunday. I don't know how my Sundays will be moving forward, other than they'll probably be better off than what I'm used to because I'm going to be in a situation where uh, I'm not dropping my son off. If I need to see my son, I can call on him or whatever, or if he needs to see me, he knows where to find me. So he has those options. From what he's told me, he's going to have the ability to, on a weekend, let's say when he's normally with me, if he wants to go see his cats or bring the cats downstairs, or if he wants to go up and visit his mom and see how she's doing, or watch something or whatever. I'm fine with it, and as long as the one parent's basically in control, then that should be fine. So he'll have kind of the run of the place, which will be kind of cool because that'll then get me into a situation where Sundays won't be such a big deal because what I've talked about before is what happens with me is Sundays and Mondays are the toughest. Wednesdays aren't so bad. I don't know why Wednesdays, especially when there's a second session. Now, mind you, I'm pretty busy this week. I really shouldn't have a second session, although I probably could use the distraction. At this point, I don't know what's happening with me tonight. I certainly have a lot of time on my hands. I don't have that much left to do in the move, in the packing of the move. I at least, my son says that. I tend to think that too. I'm looking around and I see a lot of. I don't see as much, but I still see enough right in front of my face that says I got to do something with this. I got to throw this out. I got to, basically go in, clean up, do some sweeping, and go through. I believe the equivalent of I would say three boxes or milk cartons or whatever the hell you want to call them of paperwork, maybe four. I don't know what's in those papers. Plus, I have my filing cabinet. I already went through my what I call my mini standard filing, which I was keeping a lot of junk. Tax stuff you got to keep, which is a pain in the ass. But for 7 years, I've already gone through the one. There was hardly anything in it, anyways. I mean, I got an end table I've gone through. I've got the main cabinet by the TV I've gone through. My bedroom is pretty much done, other than a few more clothes that I have to pack. I got a little bit of extra stuff here by a rocking chair that's sitting here that's just loose. Really, I mean, there's not much left. My son was helping me out a little bit after, I think it was yesterday, after we had a big live stream there for Planet Base. We played a little bit today, but of course the main focus for me today, other than watching some horrible wrestling, and I mean horrible wrestling, it was pretty pathetic. I'm not a big I love wrestling, but I'm not a big Mexican wrestling fan, and the Japanese wrestling that I watch, which I do like, I skip through a lot of it, but to get to the good stuff. I mean, some of it's crazy tag matches, similar to Mexico, but I enjoy the singles matches and the tag matches that actually matter, not just throw a bunch of guys together for the hell of it. That's what, I see. It doesn't matter how good and athletic they are if it doesn't make sense to me, or I don't understand the story behind it, or I don't know why it doesn't make any sense to me. Whereas a lot of Japan wrestling, I do understand, because I understand the story and the history behind what's happening and who's chasing what titles. Japanese, it's hard to tell the story sometimes, whereas WWE, which I don't really watch for the past year since I dropped my cable, I still follow their storylines. They're much easier to understand the storylines because they're speaking in English for the most part, although there is translations, and it's a good source of entertainment for me. But that's me and my son, because we'll watch that, but we don't really watch the WWE product. We focus on New Japan and Ring of Honor at the moment, and we're waiting for this AEW thing to basically unfold. But anyways, I didn't want to talk about wrestling. I just kind of mentioned that. I don't even know how the hell I got on that subject, but so yeah, I guess because the crap I was watching today was just Mexican wrestling and throwing. I don't understand it. I just don't get it. They're very, very athletic, and they do a lot of jumps and spins and dives out the ring and stuff like that. But I don't understand. Unless there's a story behind it, wrestling doesn't make sense. It's a story. It's a male soap opera that makes sense. So, anyways, enough about the wrestling. I sent a couple emails out to Scott, but I haven't heard back from him, so I don't know what's going on. If I know he's getting the brunt of the storm, and by the looks of it, he's going to be getting the brunt of the storm tonight or today. Last I checked, we were on the outer bands of it. Unfortunately, we got over Niagara. We got the outer bands, and just in the proximity of Lake Ontario, of course, when you have northwest winds, or northeast winds, that were circulating around that big low in the States, well to the south of us, which is the big storm that's going up the East Coast right now. It draws in extra moisture off of Lake Ontario, which is not frozen, and doesn't usually freeze, so that basically continues all year long. Anytime you get northeasterly winds off Lake Ontario, and it's a powerful low pressure system, we get pretty good storms because of it. It doesn't happen that often, but when it does happen, well, yeah. So I dug myself out earlier today, and I was fine then. I came downstairs. I went to sit down, and I went to stretch on right where I'm sitting here on the love seat. It was just like, oh, I felt something. So, yeah, cold's gone. Now I'm dealing with a pectoral pull of some sort. I don't think it's major. I took a pain med or whatever, just to. I don't really feel it right now, to be honest. So the pain meds are working, so that's a good sign. So hopefully it'll be okay. Good news is I got a new bed for the next place, because I'm getting rid of this furniture, the stuff I'm sitting on right now, the couch, the rocker, the love seat. They're actually delivering on the Friday as well. So Friday's going to be a big day. They're delivering the bed on Friday. I'm coming down here early Friday afternoon to get all the furniture, the big stuff out of here. I think once that's gone, I will know for sure that I'm ready. If I don't get every single thing, it's not the end of the world, because I am still entitled to this property till the end of the month anyways. The important thing that I want to make sure is I'm taking advantage of as much of the time that I have to prepare and sort through stuff and throw out stuff, and not just move stuff and put it in storage back in the basement of where I've lived in the past, where I'm going to be living again. I really want to downsize as much as possible. Now, the wrestling, the train stuff is going to be probably the stuff that I keep and hang on to the most and cherish. And as far as I know, Emmett is going to be the one who is interested in seeing that or keeping that. Photos, cards. I even talked to him today. I don't know what you do with old cards. I really don't. I saved a few things, and I even saved an old love letter. I don't know why I saved that stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous. It has nothing to do, not even with my marriage. It was just some old love letter I thought was a good thing to save. But I talked to him on the weekend about that stuff, and there's stuff that he did for me, like old drawings and stuff like that. I haven't looked at it for years. So if I'm not looking at it for years, and I may regret that someday when he gets older. I don't think I will, though. It's just, yeah, I could tuck it away in a filing cabinet, and I may do some of that, but I may regret it. I truly may regret it, but I don't think I need to see all his little scribblings of what he, did out of love or for gifts for me or whatever. There's some things that I have that isn't too bulky that I still have that he's done. Some crafts. I mean, he mentioned one craft that he wants me to keep because he thought it was important. So I said, okay, I'll keep that. And there's certain gifts that I keep. But yeah, there's just a lot. There's just a lot of stuff I just don't know. I think I'm bringing the Christmas stuff anyways. I think I'll bring it, and if I don't use it, I'm gonna basically go to Jackie and say, hey, it's there for you to use too, because Christmas for me, it don't mean that much to me. It's just another holiday, as far as I'm concerned. It's no big deal. That's how I look at it, and that's just me. So, not a big deal. It's I understand the spiritual and all that other stuff and blah blah blah, but it doesn't mean much for me. It didn't mean much for me this year, other than extra time off. That was the only bonus out of it. Otherwise, and the happiness of my son. He's been sick all week, so it's just like. But I think he's finally getting over it. He sounded the best he had sounded in a few days today when he woke up. He was coughing a little bit. Actually, he woke up at once at 6. He didn't cough at all, which I was surprised. We went to the washroom. We're like, whoa, you're not coughing. And then, of course, when I woke him up at 10, he was coughing a little bit. But he forgot his medicine here, too. But I told his mom that. So apparently it's not a big deal. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing tonight at this point. It's 6:05, and I'm usually one that likes to plan things. So I don't know. I've sent a couple emails to Scott. I don't know if he gets notifications. Like I said, he might be strapped down with the storm. There could be other incidents going on that I'm unaware of. But these things happen, unfortunately, and this is why I'm looking down the road, at least starting next week, once I'm settled, and I'm going to take it very slow once I'm settled, of going through anything else that I need to get in place or whatever. Once I'm settled, it's just going to be I'll unpack when I need it, and then I'll know what I don't need type thing. But it's gonna be the things will start changing where I become more active and more goal oriented. If people have plans, great. If they don't, I'm just gonna run with them. And then my son's gonna have to understand the same ways. He's gonna know when I have plans, when I don't have plans ahead of time, so that he knows when I'm available. I mean, I'm always available in an emergency, of course, but as far as, even though he has the run of the place, he isn't going to come down. He knows when I'm going to be running sessions, so he knows I'm not going to be wanting to play games or doing anything else in those times. So he's going to be at his own, he's going to have to entertain himself those times. But there will be times where I can be flexible, and if he wants to come down, great. If he doesn't, kids usually they don't care. They go by they don't go by they don't like going by a schedule. They just go by the spur of the moment. So I think you know, the openness is going to be much better for him. Just a quick little channel update. I did do a couple videos over the weekend. My son loves doing YouTube. I think I love doing it too much as well, to be honest. But he loves doing the and I've been doing I've refrained from doing the YouTube when I do things with Scott. And the only reason why I haven't been doing it is because that's when I get the most done. What I might do tonight is, if I can't rely on anybody else, I might fire up Trade Dispatcher and just run the territory to keep me amused while I go through stuff. It sounds kind of weird. I mean, yeah, I could put music on. Music, sometimes I'm into it. Other times I really don't care. It's one of those things where I tend to, you know, you're not in control. I have a bit of a collection, but I really don't have much of a collection that I care about anymore. I used to have, you know, I used to have 6-tray CD players. I think I got rid of those. Oh, speaking of which, electronics, that's another thing that I have to go through, but I got a funny feeling I'm probably going to do that. Probably off to the side, but we'll see. I might do that the following week, or because unfortunately the only place I can go is up to the dump, and I don't like going to the dump with my car, especially in the winter. We just got a fresh pounding of snow, so I really don't know what to do with that. But I do have a lot of electronic stuff that I need to get rid of. But yeah, I'll have to really think about that. I was hoping we used to have one place that we used to be able to fire off a bunch of stuff around here, but apparently I might look it up tonight and see if there's another place. I got a lot of cables, a lot of other things that I don't want to part with yet. There's other stuff that I'm willing to part with. I've got his computer to disassemble, which is the old server. Get that ready to go. I don't think I'm going to have boxes for any of it. I think I'm just going to keep it all opened up. Maybe have a box. I'm actually running lower on boxes than I thought I was going to. I have boxes, but at the same time I'm going through stuff, so I don't know. Depends how much I can throw out. If I can keep throwing out stuff, then that's going to be a good sign. I won't have to worry about that too much, but again, there's stuff here. I think there's more to meets the eye here. It's something that I got a funny feeling come Thursday night I'm not going to get much sus. I'm going to be kind of in a mode where, you know, I've left it to the last minute type thing. Wednesday for sure. Wednesday I'll start feeling the pressure. Tomorrow, tonight, right now I just I don't know. I was a little tired. I was snoozing on the couch. I was watching YouTube a little bit. If I can get myself distracted enough, or at least into a situation where I'm entertained, yeah, you know, if you put a movie on, you want to watch the movie type thing, and yeah, I could do that kind of thing, but YouTube I was falling asleep at. Podcasts are pretty good. They tend to, you know, as long as it's an interesting one, I might put one on, but we'll have to wait and see. But as far as my next YouTube will probably be, first, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here. I did 2 videos. I was mentioning about the YouTube as far as the other stuff that I was broadcasting over the weekend. Planet Base, I took a look at the views. It went from 30 to 10, I think it was. It's not worth me doing. And I've been through this before. I keep wanting to try to get people interested. I got a funny feeling my tags still are tagged for Run 8 or Train Simulator or something. I got a funny feeling they are. I don't like how YouTube, you have to go into the advanced settings and all that other stuff. I usually don't bother with that. But I reply, you know, basically I'm not getting enough views for that to make it worthwhile. It looked like I had a couple likes, but it was only an hour and a half video. This one was 4 hours, and honestly, you know, watching 4 hours, it's a lot. And I understand who wants to watch 4 hours worth of video. Honestly, who wants to watch me for even half an hour sometimes? But the Run 8 stuff, I think that's still going to continue. I'll probably set up shop. I think we're in night now, the Southwest server. So if we are running and I happen to be, whether I'm dispatching, if I'm not dispatching, then I will probably ride along with one of the trains and let it go. And that'll be my entertainment, so to speak. And I'll just basically sit there and, not sit there, sorry, let it go, stream it, and from there probably keep it on channel 0, and I will go ahead and clean up some more or sort some more, and you know, just try to get through some stuff. But I got my rice cooker done today, so I could probably pack that tonight, and maybe I'll clean the other yeah, we'll see about that. Maybe I'll just get that kind of stuff together. I probably want some regular boxes, to be honest. I got these nice plastic boxes, and I don't know if I'm going to use those or not, but we'll see. Moving is stressful, but at least I got my bed now, so I don't have to worry about that. And the bottom line is the heavy stuff is going to go, even if, like I said, it's going to take me to the following Thursday until I'm out of here. If I have to come back on, you know, the Monday or whatever, or the you know, the Monday and the Wednesday next week, I will. That's fine. I see him on a Tuesday and a Thursday, so it's not a big deal. If I'm not here on a Thursday, or if I'm here till late Thursday night, that's fine too. I don't care. I'll come down here, finish it all off, and you know, we'll deal with that, unfortunately. But I'm hoping to get it all done this week. I really do. I want to get it done by Friday. I just want to get this move on, and then, because I got other things to do. I got address changes. I got all kinds of things. I don't want stuff coming here. I'll probably work on the address changes this week, actually, but there's a lot of stuff to work on. Ugh. I don't look forward to it, and I'm procrastinating right now, so I guess I'll get back to it, or start doing something and figure out what I'm doing for the rest of the evening. So, but I will be on tomorrow on the Southwest server doing something, whether it's dispatching or just riding along, and so that'll be on YouTube. And then the following week, hopefully things will be back to normal, and at the same time on my off days, especially if I don't have plans with Scott or whatever is happening, because it's got to be something I'm you know, either that or I just have a backup plan, and the backup plan's always going to be, hey, I can code this, or I can start you know, doing whatever. My son's interested in the coding too, so that's something that him and I can do on weekends or any other day for that matter. So looking forward to that. But that'll happen. I'm going to take my time next year. I'm in no rush. I don't care. It's going to be for fun. Whatever I do is going to be for fun. It's not going to be for, you know, dire financial needs or anything like that. I guess that's good for me and not so great for the community, because perhaps the community could use another simulator of some sort, like a dispatcher. And I was even looking today, yeah, over the weekend actually. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was, you know, showering, getting ready or something like that. And my son was on YouTube, and he started looking at Colonel Failure's videos, which is a prominent YouTuber, but he likes to do Transport Fever. Now, Transport Fever, I love my son and I have it. We used to run it quite a bit, except the micromanaging aspect of it. I do not like to micromanage when I'm running simulators. Whether it be a train simulation or whether it be I guess it's a railroad simulator type. I I don't know. It's a builder railroad simulator, kind of like a Railroad Tycoon, except it involves trucks, ships, and planes as well. So that's why it's Transport Fever. Transport Fever? That doesn't sound right. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, sounds right. But anyways, I was looking at it, and I love Transport Fever, but the thing it doesn't do a good job in is you when you have a slow train service and you're up against a fast train service, the fast train service suffers. Now that's kind of normal when you bog down a line with slow service. Anyways, the fast service has to get around the slow service, or the slow service has to get out of the way. The problem with Transport Fever is there's no priority structure in it. So there's no AI dispatching per se. There is an AI script style, not a script, but I guess an AI sequential decision process as far as when it's going to let a train go. So there's a rudimentary signal system. So you can have the junctions and you can have trains that'll meet, but you really don't get into one of the keen aspects of dispatching that's usually favored more by human control versus AI, because it requires a lot of complicated programming and insight, is the ability to prioritize traffic and have overtakes happen. Overtakes take place. That was what I was going to say, but you basically want to have your slower service be able to be smart enough for an AI dispatcher to get it out of the way and then have the fast service overtake it. Or if the fast service is on some kind of schedule, you want to be able to plan it that way if necessary. But that's something I would love to do, and Transport Fever is kind of cool. The other thing that I think Transport Fever, and actually all of them, Railroad Tycoon, all the Tycoon style train world games, I think one of the big things they're missing is switching. They have these. It was kind of weird because I was watching the Transport Fever video, and he's got this big world, and he's got all these mods that bring in, he can bring in German cars with North American cars, and he had intermodal cars mixed with grain cars, which, okay, fine. I mean, it is a probability, but the problem was the intermodal cars were switching. Or they weren't switching, they were loading and unloading, so all of a sudden the containers disappeared, and these aren't even at container ports, so it doesn't even give any variance as to type of car or where it's switching, and it could use intermodal since it simulates truck. So in essence, it could actually do a pretty good job as an intermodal carrier, but it doesn't. It just treats it as a, here it is, boom. You're either going to serve the industry or the truck's going to serve the industry. Yeah, you can offload if say only a truck serves an industry, you can offload at a freight station, and then it will take it. So in that essence, yeah, you could have the intermodal type environment take place. But generally speaking, it tries to, if you have a railroad and you have that intermodal car, it will take it off. And the worst part about it is it doesn't utilize any type of switching or local service or empties or car storage, empty forwarding to go back to the original source. I mean, yeah, okay, it's simplified. The time ratios are way off. It's kind of crazy. Another simulator I was looking at, just getting away from the train a little bit, was Tourist Bus Simulator. Now, I've seen Bus Simulator. Actually, I was going to watch a YouTube video on it. I might still do that tonight while maybe trying to sort through stuff and whatever. Wow, got up to 6:22. I'm getting hungry again. I had a very early supper. I actually had a McDonald's tonight. I haven't had McDonald's in ages. My son doesn't like McDonald's anymore. It's kind of interesting. But I haven't gotten to McDonald's in months. and I was yeah, I was shopping because I purchased the I'm purchasing a twin bed, a single bed. Um, it looks kind of small and it's really cheap. I think I got one for a floor model that was only for Canadian, it was like $300, but they were originally trying to sell me one that was over 1,000. I'm like, I'm not spending 1,000 on a bed. Just give me the floor model, and I could probably use better sleeps and all that, but I lied on it. It just felt the same as the other one. I'm like, okay. Other than my pectoral muscles hurting, it was kind of hard to tell, but I usually lie on my side anyways, and I noticed I was fine when I lied on my side. It was my back where it hurts. Pectorals are fine when I'm lying on my side. It's my left pectoral, and I usually lie on my right side anyways, so it doesn't really hurt. But no, it felt comfortable. It felt just as comfortable as a rest. I really can't tell the difference between soft head, just like, as long as it's comfortable and I can relax, I'm fine. And I think I'm still looking forward to it. But anyways, jumping around again. Yeah, we were looking at it. The tourist bus simulator's got mixed reviews on Steam. It looks kind of cool. It reminds me of Euro Truck Simulator in a way. It is European, but it has a 6-to-1 time ratio. I love it. The lower the ratio goes, the more I love the simulators. Obviously, Run 8 and Microsoft, well, any train simulator like Microsoft Train Simulator or Open Rails or Train Sim World or whatever, they all operate on one-to-ones. I love one-to-ones. Ideally, if I was to do a simulator that crossed out of the train sim realm, I would make it a one-to-one. And the problem with that is, well, how do you get all that content in there and try to do it? Like even the Crew 2, which we actually ran this weekend. We hadn't run it in a couple weeks, but we wanted to break from... we spent a lot of time playing video games this weekend. We didn't get out other than to shovel the snow. He brushed off my car because I only had one shovel, so I shoveled, and as the amount of time it took me to shovel, which was a good probably 20 minutes, I think it took him 20 minutes to clean my car. Yeah. But it was like... So yeah, I was mentioning the Crew 2, and yeah, the Crew 2 is great, and I kind of like the ratio. It's kind of condensed, but I shouldn't say I don't like the ratio. I like the concept of it, but it basically has all of the continental United States. It doesn't allow you to go into Canada or Mexico for whatever reason. It's just kind of like an invisible wall, or actually, it's not an invisible wall. It acts as if you crashed. And it brings you back over stateside. Just as if you are crashing, like if you crash your bike or car or whatever into a deep creek, it will put you back to where it was. So, you start again, try again. So if you're trying to jump over a canyon or a river, which you can, if you're unsuccessful, and you crash into the river without turning yourself into a boat first, which is kind of strange how it does it, but it's kind of cool. You can fly off a canyon in your bike or a car, and then you hit a hotkey, and all of a sudden you can turn into a plane, or you can turn into a boat. It's kind of totally unrealistic, but kind of cool anyways. So I kind of like it. I love driving. I love it's quite a release to be able to drive like a freaking maniac. All the AI traffic is... I drive by the rules, and I see maniac traffic all around me all the time in real life. I love being able to do the contrary and be the maniac while everybody else is driving within the rules and driving speed limits, and I'm just whizzing in and out and collecting all kinds of points because I'm so cool and I got such a fast vehicle, or whizzing in and out of traffic, and smashing into somebody has no consequence other than you basically stopping on a dime, and then you get to go. So it doesn't really tally damage, it doesn't really take away points, it doesn't kill you, there's no death penalty. You just pick up where you left off and away you go. So there's no risk to it. It just slows you down. So it's cool though. We were playing that for just something different. Then we went back to Planet Base eventually. But Planet Base is where it's at. We played this afternoon. We're getting there. We got a second hospital unit started up. We have a radio scope. We were able to start bringing in people. So it was really cool. But going through, I'm going to end this very shortly because my mouth's getting dry and I'm getting thirsty and I'm getting hungry too. So, but going full circle back to the train side of things and what I'm looking at developing, there's a lot of ways. I said I'm still going to do the dispatcher side. I really want to have a replacement for train dispatcher. And I'm going to run it tonight. I think that might give me a little bit more inspiration. It's certainly doing the Transport Fever gave me some more inspiration about where I want to go from there. I would love to do a 3D world. I'm not qualified to do that yet. So what you're looking at right here is me basically somewhere on, I think, the Waycross route or whatever. I forget the name of that switch. It's on the line that doesn't really do much, but yeah. So it's I mean, this is a nice 3D world with 3D art and all that other stuff. I like the 2D top-down views myself. I think I'm finding even like Planet Base, going into that approach where you're above. Planet Base is a hell of a lot of fun for me and my son, and that was the kind of thing. And it's such a simple concept. I mean, you basically get the art objects for so many things, and yet it's such a freaking addictive game. And all it is random number generators and it calculating probabilities based on variables. That's all it is. There's nothing massively difficult to program that. I'm not downplaying the programming work that went into that game. This is a lot tougher, especially for a small team. Be it Jason, Jim, to be able to do Florida, or and this is just one little stretch, but you think about some of the routes they're working on and the worlds and everything like that, and then to get the simulator to run the trains, and we're talking about version 3 coming out, and they're still such a small team, whereas they're going up against studios. These guys that are in other different studio companies that are producing train simulator software, who are really not dedicated to train simulation software, but they're just looking for a little bit of a cash cow because they have maybe better eye candy, and they're enough to persuade I would say the casual train simmer, not the hardcore train simmer. And I'm not saying that every hardcore train simmer is going to go to Run 8 either. There's a lot that are very much pleased with open rails. There's so many assets to the hobby. But I'm still of the type where I think that once I do the dispatcher, and I cannot see the dispatcher program taking that long. It is 2D. It really is not that difficult to do. And I know I keep saying that, and you're probably saying, well, okay, why haven't you programmed it then if it's not so difficult? I just haven't got to the time to do it yet. I haven't got to that open block or the energy or whatever the hell the case may be to want to do it just yet. There's been times where I've been distracted. There's the move. What other excuse is going to come? And there are excuses. But come February, we'll see. We'll see what happens, because then those excuses end. It's not spring yet. It's still, the long days of winter, and I'm not going on any trips anytime soon. So I don't see why I can't make some headway. And my son seems interested, even in the dispatcher side. He seems interested in it, but I really have bigger plans, and I can't wait around for Run 8 to figure out what the hell they're doing. I posted on some comments today, and I understand version 3 is coming, blah blah blah. It'll be ready when it's ready. Yeah. Heard it all before. We're into 2019 now. There was an expectation at one time it looked like end of 2018. I knew that was likely not going to happen, but that's just the way it is. Now we're into 2019. John has commented. That's great. I mean, he's commented right on Train Sim. I even defended it tonight. Somebody was posting that they thought Run 8 was dead because there's been no real updates for version 2, and I basically said that there was a reply just in the thread, the original thread that I posted about everybody getting excited about version 3. Run 8's, I don't think Run 8 is dead. I think they have some challenges to overcome, which they're probably trying to figure out how they're going to do. But we'll see. There's a lot there's a lot they say they want to do, but I haven't seen the signs of it coming yet. Although there's a lot of good ideas, I haven't seen any indication of some of these things happening. I haven't seen screenshots. I haven't seen any buzz that's telling me. Just like when LA was coming. When LA was coming, you had screenshots. You had something that you can sink your teeth into. Version 3. There's really nothing to appetize us right now other than some comments. The difference between the comments that they would say for their product and for me to say to my brand that's never sold $1 worth of merch is that they make that's to some they're full-time and some part-time source of income, an income thread for them, or income stream. For me, it's a hobby. I would be certainly interested in that second income stream, but I don't need it, especially when my situation changed in late 2018. So yeah, I procrastinated, and yeah, there's excuses and whatever you want to call it, but the difference is I'm waiting to see what Run 8 does for the most part, because I like Run 8. I think, why reinvent the wheel? Why put RTS2 out there? RTS2 ain't going to do anything. It's yeah, okay, it's somewhat compatible for it, but it requires a lot. Remember how I was saying, I don't like simulations that do multi-managing or micromanaging. That's the word. I don't like to. I want to be able to, if I'm going to run a train, I want to run a train. If I want to switch a train, I want to switch a train. If I want to dispatch, I want to dispatch. I don't want to be doing jack of all trades. That's not why I run a train simulation. Now, it's different if it is a type of simulation where it's a world simulation or a railroad transportation simulator, let's say, where that's your goal and you're the train master and your job is to figure out the traffic patterns and all that other stuff or whatever. I wouldn't call that a railroad transportation simulator. My vision of a railroad transportation simulator has nothing to do with a building of track type thing. It has more to do with the operation of a prototypical railroad system, including multiple railroads and interchanges and car flows and switching and yards and dispatching. All of that. I have a lot of those goals still in mind. I haven't seen a product on the market, including Run 8, that can come close to capturing what I would love to see in a true railroad transportation simulator. That's why I hold on to that brand very, very seriously, because that brand identifies my personal aspiration or what I want to accomplish. Now, having said that, if Run 8 can continue to do the things they have done in the past or shown where you can rely on their system, and it's not as good, maybe as far as their car forwarding is not as good as RTS was, but it's more automated where it doesn't require as much human involvement, or they have great ability for AI trains to function like they do in version 2. Big difference between version 1. Version 1 you had to run the trains all yourself. Version 2, well, hey, boom. And then have the automated tags. That's another biggie. I remember back in the version 1 days, I'd have to go to industry by industry and tag them. And that was, you know, not really... It was an extra task of keeping hold of a fleet. Whereas version 2 was able to do it, so the need for RTS diminished to some extent, but at the same time had the ability of Run 8 version 2 been able to accommodate RTS. Not so much, they were able to accommodate the RTS to create trains, but I lost a lot of its power between 1 and 2, and then I couldn't really take advantage of their AI spawner, for example. I'd love to have their AI spawner actually load up a file that I created as opposed to what they created. Then I can interlace what I have into their system so that their tags can be generating and using you know, my system. It would recognize my tags, it would do the auto loading or emptying or whatever, everything else, but then I could create the trains so that my trains looked more realistic, because I don't think the AI generated trains are what I would consider realistic looking trains. And what I mean by that is the consist, having loads at the front, empties at the back. I mean, that's nice and all, but it's pretty simplistic. Or the way they choose engines. That's been a topic we've talked about on Train Sim. You know, having a choice, you know, people want to have certain eras of engines, so, you know, you either have, okay, you put in UP and you get the whole UP family, including Southern Pacific and all that other stuff, or you don't, or whatever. It's a little bit different. You can't really era choose. For me, I look at it as what RTS 1 did. And that was, I always had the home road on the lead unit that you chose, but then I had a probability of what would be in the tail units for foreign railroads. So you would see the odd foreign engine pop up in a consist, but you wouldn't see it at the same probability. And you certainly wouldn't see it as a lead unit, although that does happen in the prototype. For one, I know most railroads frown on it. They want to have their own units, and they would always want it to have as trailing power. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's just facing the other direction. That's the only one they got. It's got to go. Guess what? You know, you might be on CSX. Guess what? You might be running an NS unit. Direct competition, but that's just the way it is, and that's how power sharing works. And sometimes there's not a choice. So, anyways, my throat's getting dry. I'm done for now. I might be doing my own thing with Scott later. We'll see. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow night at about maybe around 7:30 Eastern, 8 o'clock, or before 8 o'clock, to get going on the rest of the Southwest session for the week or whatever, and see how that goes. And I'm gonna get the ball rolling very shortly here. I just want to tackle some of this again. I tackled a bit yesterday with my son, but I just want to get I want to feel more comfortable. I just don't want to leave this to the last minute, and I think there's still some stuff to do. I hate sorting through paper, but you know, then maybe I'll go through and clean up a few of the things, and as long as I got it, all the heavy stuff's pretty much ready to go, so it's not a big deal. But I don't want to leave it to the last minute. So I might even take some time. Well, no, the good thing is Friday I'm going to be here. As far as I know, I'm working from home Friday afternoon. So once the move takes place, once they get this furniture out of here, I'll have plenty of room to clean up and do last minute get together stuff or whatever else I need. So I do have some time ahead of me. It's just I do not want last minute stuff happening. So Anyways, that's all for now, guys. I will see you tomorrow, and have a good week, and we'll see you tomorrow. See ya.